Of course.
I'm really excited about our call tonight. A lot of great things going on with Beachbody Summit coming on right around the corner. We've been doing a lot of call swapping as far as the leaders in the network. And it's really been a lot of fun for me, and I'm sure for Deborah as well. We've really good turnout with these and a lot of good feedback as well, because hearing from the same people all the time, it kind of like falls on deaf ears, I feel. So having give their little twist on how they're doing the business or how they started or what have you, I think really goes a long, long way. So before we get started and I introduce our speaker, I don't know if you guys saw on Carl's page today that Beachbody On Demand is. How cool is that? I don't know how that works yet because they just announced it today, but I think that's just money in the bank if you ask me. You know, so great things going on with that. We have our Diamond Dash this month, just started today. So if you guys have not gotten on that or you want to reach Diamond by the end of the month, please go to the top of our page, click on the link, and join the event. And we're going for Diamond in 30 days. So nice little push before Summit. So I hope everybody is on that. I hope everybody is tuned in that wants to achieve Diamond. Get your people in there. Get your teams on it. It's a great way to build momentum. It's a great way to have camaraderie and get them a quick start and a quick bit of success right before the summer hits full force. So but without any further ado, those are all the little announcements. We'll talk about more of those later. But I am really excited to have my friend Deborah Baska on the call tonight. She is a 10-star Diamond, 4-time elite coach, 1-star in her second business center. She's just a badass coach. And I'll let her tell her quick story. She's going to come and share some and how she built a 10-star Diamond team. And mom as well, and married and kids and the whole thing. So without further ado, I would like to give the floor over to my friend, Deborah Baska.
Thank you, Mark. Your friendship is just such a blessing. I'm telling you, ever since I was a new coach, every time in Vegas, I mean, you just make everybody feel like they're your best friend. And I kind of feel like you're one of my BFFs. So even when I didn't know you, I still felt that way. So thank you so much. And you're speaking on my call in 2 weeks.
Right.
Or whatever, next week or whatever that is. But anyway, I forgot where I was at. But a little bit about my story. I am going to speak on the 5 difference makers to being a successful coach. And so it's probably something that is really a great message, I think, for newer coaches. And for those of you that are seasoned coaches, I think it's a good message to share with your coaches because, you know, the reason I put that topic together was because, like so many of us, I would look at my organization and I would look at the new coaches and I'm thinking, what is it? You know, how come I did this and they aren't? And how come I did this and these coaches that started at the same time as me didn't? And so I just went back to my early days and I just started writing down, okay, these are the things that I did. So that's how that topic came up. But a little about me, I'm not sure what you know, but like Mark said, I am in the Midwest, Kansas City, Missouri. And I'm married 21 years. I have a 26-year-old stepson. I have a daughter that's a coach and she does quite well, but she's in college, a sophomore now. And my son just graduated from high school. He will be a coach when he turns 18 next week. And we have 3 dogs. So if you hear any dogs barking, they're probably ours. 214 pounds of dog, to be exact.
Wow.
I've been a coach for 5 years. My anniversary was just a couple days ago. And before I was a coach, I was the vice president of marketing in corporate America. I was at my job 19 years and 11 months. Anxiously anticipating my 20-year anniversary when I got that really cool watch and got a, potluck luncheon for my 20 years of service. And the company decided they didn't need me anymore. They didn't want me anymore. So the company and I parted ways. It was very traumatic, very distressing, but I was wanting to leave anyway. So that was but I was wanting to leave on my own terms, right? I mean, you don't want to have your six-figure income just ripped away from you. You want to do it on your own terms. Well, that didn't happen. But fortunately, about 6 months earlier, I had become a coach with Beachbody, and I did that pretty much for the discount. My husband and I started P90X in 2009, I believe. He still has his workout sheets from 2009, so he knows this stuff. And he, in this whole term, has lost 55 pounds. He's no longer diabetic, no longer has high cholesterol, is off all the meds for that. We found that our fitness and our health was completely changed with Beachbody products, right? So I decided I wanted to start drinking Shakeology, and I said, oh, well, I can get a discount if I sign up as a coach, so I'm going to do that. But I was really intrigued by it because I used to be a Group X instructor when I was in college, and so I've always had an interest in fitness, and I was really disillusioned with my current job, and so I was like, this is something that's kind of cool, and I don't know if, I'm sure it would never be my job, but it's fun. It's fun, and I can make a little extra money, which, even though I made good money, it was still fun to make money doing something that was fun. So once I got into the coaching community, I fell in love with it. And I have to tell you that right now, that's one of the things we're doing in our team page is we are holding a challenge group in our team page because I truly believe that people will fall in love with the community. That's really kind of been my focus in these last few months when I've done business opportunity calls is just to talk about the community of coaches. Even if you don't do anything with a business, being a part of the community just for me made me happier, made me feel more positive. And who knows, maybe it turns into something. But so 5 years later, I'm, totally never going back to corporate America. My income has more than doubled from what it was in corporate America. Beachbody guarantees no level of income. It is solely dependent upon your skill and your effort, right, Mark?
Absolutely.
Disclaimer.
Absolutely.
But so that kind of brings me to, well, how did I get here? And so many don't. Because I truly believe that we all have the opportunity to be as successful in this as we want to be. So I'm going to share my screen, and I have a little PowerPoint.
Nice. By the way, I saw your husband last week in Dallas. He looked phenomenal.
Oh, how cool is that? It's so fun to have friends wherever you go.
He looked great. He was excited. He was getting into the event, and it was really nice to see him.
He's super hot. Now, Mark, I don't expect you to think that, but,
Yeah,
I'm 48 and John is 56. And I just think that, age is just a number for us. And I totally credit this lifestyle for that because where we started, if you saw our starting pictures, we were old. John was really hefty. I was just scrawny. So, and I had a mom hairdo that, my friends kept telling me made me look older, but I didn't believe them. I thought it was cool. Anyway, so let's talk about the 5 difference makers. What separates those that do from those that don't? So I like to start off the story that once upon a time there was a Beachbody coach. And this Beachbody coach, as you know, started out kind of as a discount coach, and she was able to, in her first 6 months as a coach, she was able to earn a trip to Atlantis, Bahamas. And that's her and her daughter on the beach at Atlantis, Bahamas. Now, how did she get to earn that trip to Atlantis, Bahamas? Because she started out as a discount coach. It was the Success Club trip, which normally takes 12 months to earn. How did she do that in 6 months? What's really incredible about this trip was that our family had this dream to go to Atlantis, Bahamas. And we had watched the movie The Secret, so we were all into this visualization and positive self-talk. And 2 years before this, my husband had taken a magazine ad out of Atlantis. He had taken it to the copy shop and blown it up and he framed it behind glass. And we had this picture of Atlantis on our wall, so that every time we walked from our living room to our kitchen, we see this. And it's like you touch it and you're like, I see myself there. I see myself there. Well, you know, we hadn't got there yet. You know, again, John and I were both in corporate jobs. We had great incomes, but we had not been able to afford to go there. So when I found out that the trip as a Beachbody coach was to Atlantis, my wheels started turning. And I started thinking, wow, that would be so cool to be able to do this. But I didn't even know what Success Club was. I didn't even know how to do that. And so to be able to be on that beach, a little more than 6 months later, I mean, I earned it by December, but the trip was in March, you know, was pretty much incredible. And so, you know, at the time, I signed up with a lot of other coaches, right? And like, not everybody made that trip, right? So how did I get there? So here's my 5 difference makers. My husband's calling me to put him on silence. Number 1 is mental mindset. So this is something that you've probably heard a lot, and you're probably rolling your eyes right now saying, oh, please, personal development again. Why do I have to hear this? But I have to tell you that before I was a coach, my mental mindset was very negative. It was very glass is half empty. I didn't like the whole personal development thing. I was very resistant to it. But I was told this is something that we must do as Beachbody coaches. And so, you know, I said, okay, you know, I'm going to do what they say to do. And I started reading, and I'm going to show you my first books that I read, but it totally changed the way I thought. And even before I lost my job, the personal development I was doing actually started, you know, it started changing the way I looked at myself and what I could do as a career, because I felt like I was stuck where I was. Like, I've been there almost 20 years. It's a niche industry. I kind of believe that I was just there because I've been there for so long, you know, so the thought, I didn't think I could do anything else. I actually, in the 6 months that I was there while I was a coach, I started sending out resumes. I'd never done that before. I started having this thought of myself that, you know, I can do something different, and why not? So the personal development, the mental mindset is so important, because what you think about comes about. And most likely what you're thinking about isn't good stuff. I mean, if you're just alone in your head with your own thoughts every day, then it's not a good place to be. And I know for me, it wasn't. So the personal development myths that I have, these are the first 5 books that I read. The Slight Edge, which is comparable to The Compound Effect. It's actually written by Jeff Olson. He was a student, if you will, of Darren Hardy. So, you know, The Slight Edge is very much based on the whole Compound Effect. It's a little bit shorter. I mean, that was just the book that was recommended to me versus The Compound Effect, and I absolutely loved it. The next book was Go for No. Obviously, that helped me realize, you know, I was the kind of person that never thought I could do something like this because, well, number 1, I'm not a salesperson. Number 2, I'm highly introverted. Number 3, I fear failure. I always have taken the safe route in life. I used to want to be a dancer. I used to, you know, want to travel the world and be an international business. And I took the safe route. You know, I went and found a job here and, you know, 10 minutes from my home and stayed there for 20 years, right? I mean, so Go for No is really kind of an eye-opener for me that, you know, no's in life aren't a bad thing. They're not a bad thing. Eat That Frog, of course, I still have trouble with procrastinating. I would dare say that for most of us, invites are our frogs, and even more specifically, business invites are our big, big, hairy frogs. And so this is something that I can remind myself of to this day. I mean, so I still use this stuff. When I talk about mental mindset, I believe it's a muscle. And just like we build our physical muscle, we have to build our mental mindset muscle. And when you've done 5 years of personal development, like I have, and Mark's done more than that, I dare say, your mental mindset muscle can flex. It's like muscle memory. So like when I find myself in a slump with, you know, signing on new coaches, I'm like, okay, Deb, flex that mental muscle. You got to eat that frog. What's the deal here? You just got to get those business invites out first thing in the morning. Stop being a wuss about it. You know, so that's why you've got to be consistent in this. The fourth book I read is The Attractor Factor, and I'm going to come back to that. And then the fifth book was Go Pro, which is what Mark and I were talking about at the conference in December. But I want to go back to The Attractor Factor because that was truly for me the mental mindset maker. And it's not everybody's cup of tea. I listened to it on audio. So Joe Vitale actually read it. He's the author, and I just loved it. I don't know if I would have loved it as much if I would have read it. It's a little, you know, he's actually somebody that spoke in The Secret. So I mentioned that, you know, that we had watched a few years ago. But The Attractor Factor, I believe, is what got me from. So in my first 6 months, I earned that Success Club trip. And then I came into my first full year, and all of a sudden, I'm somehow on the elite leaderboard. You know, it's like, I didn't even know what that was. And I had somebody from corporate that reached out to me and said, hey, you know, would you like to, we have a call about this. Let's get you on it. I was a diamond in, I think, January of that year, February 1st, I hit diamond. And what got me to 2-star elite by the end of that first full year as a coach was The Attractor Factor. I kid you not. It was my mental mindset maker, and it taught me so much about, again, what you think about comes about. And for some reason, I just believed it. And again, listening to Joe Vitale in the car, I mean, I would just listen to the same thing over and over. And to this very day, I will say I'm afraid to let negative thoughts into my head. And if anything does come into my head, I flex that mental mindset muscle. I'm like, oop, that's it. Oh, I take it back. I've even said that. I'm like, oh, I take that back. Take that back. It's not out there. So this is so important. This is an absolute must.
Cool.
I did a 52-book challenge last year, and I have it on my blog if anybody wants to see the reading list that I did. 52 books last year. I mean, I absolutely loved that activity. As I said, I was really reluctant to do personal development in the beginning, and I became addicted to it. And last year, 52 books, you think, well, how can you absorb all that? Well, I don't know that I absorbed every single thing, but my soul absorbed it. And before that, I was very meticulous about reading. And so I almost got into analysis paralysis, where I had a hard time getting through my books because I was so busy trying to take notes and highlight and remember everything. And so I could quote it to my team. And last year, I just absorbed. I just let it all come in. And I really believe that made a big difference. So try that if you haven't tried that. The second thing is to get engaged. And I don't mean to a boyfriend or girlfriend. I mean to your team, to your community. So this is pretty simple. But again, when I think back about, well, what did I do that other people don't do? And then I see other coaches not doing. Well, number one, I see people not doing their personal development. You know, they say they are, but they aren't. You know, pop quiz. What book are you reading? I'm reading The Compound Effect. Oh, you've been reading that for a year. Let's read something else now, okay? And then number two is getting engaged with your community of coaches and your team. So obviously, the National Wake Up Call. When I was a new coach, I can remember I would listen to that at work. I would take an early lunch because it was at 11 a.m. my time, and I would listen to that call. And that was a mental mindset maker for me, because that's where I learned that anybody can do this. Anybody can be a successful coach. You know, when I heard Lindsay's Matway's story, you know, bartender, bankrupt, single mom. When I heard Mindy Winder, broke as a joke, very shy, no small town, didn't know anybody. When I heard Hillary Kelly, stay-at-home mom, when I heard these stories, I'm like, that's when I started to believe. That's when I started to think, from discount coach to, well, how about that? Maybe I could do this too. So I truly believe National Wake Up Calls, do not miss them. Super Saturdays. Arnaud Nakaha is my rep here in the Central Region, and he says he still remembers me at my first one. And he goes, I remember you were there and you were just taking notes and you were so serious. And I haven't missed a Super Saturday in 5 years. And I don't know. It's not because I don't have a life, but I just see, people are all something. I've got this and that, and I've got that. I don't know. I believe it's a commitment. I've never missed a Super Saturday. I mean, I ran a half marathon one Super Saturday and then went and presented. I did put deodorant on and I changed my clothes, but it's just, it's a business commitment. I don't understand. I mean, when people tell me, oh, I've got this, and I'm like, I don't want to be a hard ass, but I'm kind of like,
Right.
Summit, I've not missed a summit since I became a coach. And, that's like a mojo maker. That's a total mojo maker. Team Cup Challenge. This is really important. My first couple of weeks as a coach, we had a Team Cup Challenge. And I didn't know what Success Club was. Again, like I said, Success Club's what got me to the Bahamas. I didn't even know what it was. And I'm on my big team page, and these coaches are talking about getting on this Team Cup Challenge. And I'm like, well, I'm not successful, so Success Club doesn't apply to me, so I don't really need to pay attention to this. But then my sponsor messaged me and said, Deb, you need to get on a team. Just put your name on that big, long list, and we'll get you on. It was like a kickball thing, They were just picking people and putting them together. So I was put together with 5 random coaches, all of us complete newbies. Nobody knew hardly anything about Success Club. I became the captain because nobody else wanted to, right? And I learned so much. I learned how to set up a conference call. I learned how to, learned what Success Club was. I learned how to look in my coach online office and find information. And Team Cup Challenge. To this very day, I participate in all the Team Cup challenges, every single one that comes along. And that's what got me to Atlantis. Team calls just like this. I know everyone can't listen live, but you can always listen to the recording. You should, National Wake Up Call and team calls. Those are that's what you should have on your calendar to do every week. And then team training. I don't know about you guys, but I know on our team, we have new coach training, we have emerald training. I know Mark said he's doing a diamond dash. I'll do special training like, what to post, or I'll do, branding, how to, brand yourself. Does everybody participate in those? No. It's like free stuff right there. I mean, I know a lot of coaches say, oh, you can learn this business without any help from your team. And people have done that. But you don't have to do that. You have a team that's giving you information and feeding you stuff. So get engaged with your team, get engaged with your community of coaches. Because as I said, when we work this business in our homes by ourselves, we need to know that we're not alone. I can tell you, I did not even know there were other coaches in Kansas City until I found out that there was a Super Saturday here. I was like, really? Really? So you're not alone. You don't have to be alone. Get engaged.
Nice. Can I interrupt real quick? Deborah, I think that is so important that you hit on that, because I too, at the very beginning, I was 2009 when we came in, and talk about work ethic. You and I have the same work ethic. I have never missed a national wake-up call. I have never missed a Super Saturday, just like that. And I think it is so important. If you want this business to work for you, you are the CEO, and these are the things that you have to do. It's like people now come and say, well, I wish I could have got in at the beginning, or I wish I would have, it's too late. No, it's not. These are the things you have to do, but now everything is all in place. All you have to do is just follow a good, strong work ethic, just like you lined out in black and white right there. That is the simple few things we do to be successful in this business. Because you're just engaging that in getting all that information, so that you're arming yourself with all this knowledge to tell your coaches and customers. It's perfect.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people want to think there's some, something more intricate than what we're telling you, and it's this. I mean, it's not maybe sexy, it's not rocket science. It's just, you got to put in the work. The other thing is you got to own it, and that's kind of what Mark was talking about. I mean, you got to own all of this. You've got to set yourself non-negotiable goals. So once I learned what Success Club was, I set that as a non-negotiable goal. I've been in success. I've had Success Club 10. I think, I don't know if it's 55 months or almost 60, something like that. You know, and before that I was Success Club 5. I mean, when I think about, you know, that many months, I mean, I don't know at what point I decided, without a doubt, no, I can tell you, I missed Success Club once when I was in my first couple months. I think I signed on in May. I think I missed it in like October. I still remember. And after that, I hit Success Club 10, and I've hit Success Club 10 ever since. And I just made a decision. I made a decision that I would never not hit Success Club again. And I know you're like, well, gosh, I've made that decision too. I mean, I've made that decision, but it just doesn't happen. I don't know. You know, I think when you make a decision and you make a non-negotiable goal, you figure out how to make it happen. And you know, I was actually talking to my success partner this morning, and we did a workout together on demand. And I threw out, said, okay, girl, Success Club 5 by the end of the day. And she's like, what? You know what? I think I'm going to hit it. Because after I threw it out there, I thought, well, you know, I guess, why didn't I just do that? And I set about doing my follow-ups, hitting my pipeline, and by golly, I think I'm going to do it. Nice. So you've got to make decisions, and you have to work your business to achieve those decisions. You know, if you say I'm going to hit Success Club every month and you're inviting like 2 people, you know, every week, you're not going to hit Success Club. You haven't committed to the decision. You've got to track your stuff. I really, really believe this. That was another difference maker for me. Again, when I started working with my corporate mentor that first year, when they said, hey, you could be a lead, I was like, oh, okay. I started having calls with corporate, and they asked me to fill out the business activity tracker, which I had never before done. And it was kind of it was the old tracker, so it was kind of a little more complicated. And so I started doing that, and I was kind of reluctant because it's like, this is kind of icky. But you know what? I truly believe to this day that that business activity tracker got me, again, to not only 2-star elite that year, but 5-star elite the following year, and, you know, 10-star elite and all that. That's what got me there, because that held me accountable. That made me own it. If I would put down on my tracker that I was going to invite 20 people a day to a challenge group, which equated out to, you know, do the math for me, you know, so many a week, then I was going to do that. And I was going to do that not only because I set that goal, but also I was turning it into my accountability mentor. And I didn't want him to look at it and say, well, you fell short of your goal. When I first became a coach, accountability, when I first became a coach, my sponsor she had her own little tracker. I mean, this was before the business activity tracker. And she had this little Word document, and she sent it, and, you know, you had little columns. And she said, this is what you need to do. So many shares, so many contacts, so many this and that. And she would have a weekly call. And we would get on that call, and the only thing we did was we reported our numbers. And we had to share our personal development takeaway. So I thought that call was pretty mundane. I mean, it was like, you know, and there were so many times I didn't really want to get on the call. But number one, I respected my sponsor, and I respected her time. And number two, I was not going to get on that call and not have my stuff done. And I can still picture the people on that call. I can't picture, I can hear them. I can recognize their names. How many of those people aren't even coaches anymore? Because they would get on that call and they wouldn't have their numbers done, right? Or people stopped getting on the calls because they weren't doing the work, and they didn't want to be called out anymore. They didn't want to get on there, and when it was their turn, say, well, you know, I had my kid's dance recital this week, and yeah, you know, I had the flu, or yeah, you know, my dog had a thorn in his paw and I had to take him to the vet. You know, oh yeah, I lost the dog ate my homework. I mean, whatever the reason was that they didn't get their stuff done, they just got tired of saying it, you know, and I really believe that owning of that, you know, that's a difference maker. That's why, the only person that was on that call with me, I don't know, Mark, do you know Holly Meredith?
I do.
Holly is also an elite coach, and she is still doing very well, and she would get on that call and she would have her stuff done. The two of us are the only ones.
Wow.
So accountability and tracking. Own your business. Number 4, and this is probably should be number 1 because I've wanted to talk about it a lot, but do what you're told. Success leaves tracks. It really does. And, I have so many coaches will say, well, how do you be successful as a coach? And it's like, I've given you all the tracks. We're giving you all the tracks. You have to do what you're told. And that was really kind of my big, that's what I tell my coaches today. When I was told to get on a Team Cup challenge, even though I didn't know what Success Club was, I did it. When I was told that I had to read at least 10 minutes of personal development every day in order to be successful, I did it. When I was told to fill out this little tracker thing, I carried that in my purse, and I would take it to work. And if I did a contact, I'd do my little tick marks. And I always did more than I was supposed to. That's another thing. But I did it. I did Christine Dwyer's boot camp. And one of the things that we had to do was get on the phone and do business opportunity, like short little 5-minute calls on the phone with people. We had to ask them, and then we had to get them on the phone. And that's not how I do it today. That's not my technique, but that's what she said to do. And you know what? What are you afraid to do? That's what I was afraid to do. I'm an introvert. I don't like to be on phone calls, right? And I don't, it's like, oh my gosh, but I did it because success leaves tracks. Christine's obviously hugely successful. I was going to own it. I'm like, okay, I can do it. And you know what? It didn't kill me. It didn't kill me. I didn't like it. I never liked it, but I did it. So what are you afraid to do? What is Mark telling you to do that you're afraid to do? A lot of us, it's the business invites. You're asking all the people you think are going to say yes, and you're not asking the people you think are going to say no, because you think that no is going to do what? What's it going to do? Is it going to kill you? Is it going to hurt your feelings? Is it going to make you cry? Well, if it hurts your feelings, you need to just, you know what? People are really nice. And if they say no, they're not saying no to you. They're saying no to the opportunity, to whatever. And a lot of times they're saying no because of something that relates to them. So you've just got to kind of get over this fear thing. And you've got to have your why power be much greater than your fear. One thing that I've heard in personal development, they say, okay, what are you afraid of? Okay, now think, what's the worst possible thing that could happen to you in your life if that outcome happens? So if you say, well, I don't want to, and this is me, like, I'm afraid to ask this particular person to be a coach, even though I think she'd be amazing, because, she's really like super cool. And I think I'm a little intimidated by her. I'm afraid to ask her. So what do I think is the worst possible thing that could happen if I ask her and she says no? When you kind of put it in that way, it's like, okay, I think my pride, I would feel stupid. I would feel kind of stupid. Well, you know what? If you feel stupid, think about why you're doing this. You'll get over that. You will soon learn. What will happen is that person, they may or may not say yes to the opportunity, but I can guarantee you they're probably going to be pretty friendly. You're probably going to deepen that relationship with that person, and you'll be surprised. And you're going to then, go for no, yes is the destination. You're going to learn that, okay, that person said no, but what if they say yes? I've had that happen. All the people that were on my list of, I'm afraid to ask them, so I'm not going to. When I got done with the low-hanging fruit list, and I realized, well, I've got a long ways left to hit my goals. I'm going to have to start asking these people. This is what I did. I invited without filters. That's kind of my key phrase, invite without filters. So I wouldn't even consider how I felt about that person. Like, was it my high school nemesis? Was it, is it the prettiest girl in class? And I always felt like a fat, ugly person next to them. It's, my boss's wife, whatever. I wouldn't consider that. I would just say, okay, here's the thing. I have something great. Maybe they want it, maybe they don't. So invite without filters.
Can I interrupt a minute? I
Yes.
think I would feel more stupid not asking and then finding out a month later someone did and they joined.
Yeah.
You're a lost.
That person, I do have that person in my life. And it's so funny because I never was able to get them on the phone, but I did. And I left a voicemail and I actually, Facebook message, and they never returned my calls even. But the thing about that was kind of my jumpstart too, because I saw that they had some mutual friends with some of the newer Kansas City coaches. And I'm like, oh my gosh, if they sign up with one of them, I'm going to kick myself to. Mm-hmm. So you're exactly right, Mark. I mean, that only has to happen to you once and you will get over it. You're like, okay, I'm over it. So just do it. I mean, you just got to do it. And, I think if you go about it, like I said, with that, do what you're told, don't ask questions. I have a coach that, I told him, you need to invite to the business. They didn't want to do it.
Yeah. I had a guy that when we were doing our meetings here in Vegas, we were all at the office. We don't do anymore, but there was this one guy who's a big network marketer, and he was a friend of my brother's. And I always wanted to ask him, and I never did. And then one day I go to the office, and he is sitting in the room, and he had already signed up with one of the bigger coaches, and I'm like, son of a gun. I couldn't even think for a week. And
yeah.
God, it didn't work out, to be honest with you. But I'm just like, from then on, I was convinced that I'm asking everybody. Because what do you got to lose? All they could say is no. It's like dating. I look at this like dating. When you started dating and they said no, what, are you not going to date anymore? You'll get over it in a few hours, a few days, a few weeks. You'll get over it. You'll go again. Yeah. And that's kind of how you got to look at this.
Yeah. So this whole slide is really, this is, I think the biggest for me is just doing what I was told. And I kind of had almost a combative, a rebellious mentality about it because, again, going into network marketing from a corporate world, I was like, I don't know, these things really work, but she's making, 6-figure income and, okay, I guess it can happen. And okay, so they're telling me, and really we all tell you to do the same stuff. It's not like Mark's telling you to do something different than I'm telling you, or Hillary Kelly or Lindsay Matway or Melanie Nietzsche. We're all telling you to do the same stuff.
Right.
Well, this is what they stated you have to do to be successful. And now we call those the 4 vital behaviors. We did not have those back in the day. Okay, I'm going to do those things. And if I do all those things and this doesn't work, then they're just feeding us all a line. That's what I thought. I'm like, I'm going to do it. Okay, I'm going to do it. And then if it doesn't work, then okay, they're just, it's a scam. But what happens is, the people that aren't successful in this business are the ones that aren't doing what they're told. And if you are doing what you're told, if you think you are, then you want to double check that with your sponsor. Say, okay, and you've got to have the tracker. I have coaches that come to me and are like, well, I said, all right, how are you in? But yeah, I'm at it. I'm like, okay, well, let me see your numbers. I don't have numbers. Okay, well, over the next week, keep your numbers. And then you can start to see. And if the numbers are there, then what I ask for is I say, let me see your conversations. Screenshot your conversation. And I'm not saying that because I think they're lying. I'm saying that because I'm trying to diagnose the situation, right? And I have coaches that, by golly, I really do believe they're doing the work. So we are together diagnosing the situation. I'm looking at their conversations and I'm, all that. But you've got to make sure you're doing what you're told. Enough said on that. Finally, this is the big one. You've got to be hungry. You've got to be hungry. Do you have a vision about what Beachbody can do for you? I recommend that you look at your life and you look at what, your vision for your future. And that may be hard for some people because I know before I became a coach, I did not have a vision for my future. because I already knew what it looked like. It looked like the past 20 years. The next 20 years looked like the past 20 years. And that did not excite me. So I did not care to have any vision about that. It was like, I don't even want to think about it. So the first thing you have to do is you have to start having a vision for your future. And think about what you want out of life. You know, is it more time with your kids? Is it, you know, more income so that you can pay off bills, so that you don't have to work 2 or 3 jobs, so that you can take your kids to Disney World, so that whatever it is. And then you have to ask yourself, is what I'm doing today going to get me there? And if so, when? Or is that vision something I can really only achieve with Beachbody? What can Beachbody do for you? You know, so you make a 6-figure income. Let's just say that. I mean, there's not every, you know, that's a pretty nice income, right? And, you know, I don't know what the average income is in America, but I know it's not 6 figures. So say, well, that would be really great. You know, okay, so the current job that you have, how long is it going to take you to get there? Well, I'm never going to get there at 2% a year, right? Okay, well, if you want a 6-figure income, because that will allow you to put a down payment on a house, that will allow you to start saving money for your kids' college, that will allow you to, you know, help care for your elderly parents, that will allow you to take a mission trip or give back to your community. Can Beachbody get you there? Yes, it can. And it can get you there, you know, within a few years. I mean, some people get there in a year, some people 2, 3, 4, 5, but that's what I mean. You have to have a vision for your future, and you have to know how Beachbody can get you there. And you have to be hungry for that vision. Do you have belief in this? You know, if you say, yeah, I want this, do you believe that Beachbody can do that for you? I mean, do you believe the business works if you work it? Do you believe that the products work? I mean, if you're having trouble inviting people to the business opportunity, you need to look at your belief in the business. And sometimes when you're a newer coach, you're like, well, I don't know. I'm so far from there. That's why you listen to the national wake-up calls. That's why you get on team calls. That's why you do your personal development. Because you have to believe sometimes in something that you can't really see yet, right? Mm-hmm. So it's the same way with our products. If you have trouble selling Shakeology, do you really believe that it's worth what it costs? And do you believe that it really makes a difference? And do you believe that it's different than other shakes? Your belief is very important. And do you have a why about which you are fierce? I used to say that, you know, do you have a why that makes you cry? And not everybody does. And then I listened to one of Darren Hardy's Darren Daily little morning deals, and it was Get Pissed. That was the name of it, Get Pissed. And I listened to that like on my way to the store, and by the time he got done, I was like pounding my steering wheel. I'm like, yeah, this is it. And get fierce about your why. And that just really resonated to me. And when I shared that with my team, that really resonated with them, because for me, you know, my why was, I am not going back to corporate America. I am not going back to a place that makes me feel like I don't matter, that I'm not enough, that I need to change, that, you know, all these things. I'm not going back to a place like that. I am pissed at the thought of that. I am fierce about that. I was so fierce. And you know what? When my husband asked me what my plan B was because the money was running out and the business wasn't making enough yet, I said, I don't have a plan B. This is it. I'm not going back there. And you know what? This house is kind of big. We don't really need this house. We can just, you know, downsize our life. That's how fierce I was about it. You know, we didn't have to do that. But, you know, how fierce are you about it? Because here's what I say. You know, if your why isn't powerful, then why bother? And that's, I think, where most people are at with their business. Because most of y'all are working other jobs. You're getting by. You know, maybe you don't particularly like what you do. Maybe you like what you do. You would just like to get paid more for it. Whatever. You're getting by. You're comfortable. You're not fierce. That was me. When I started out as a coach, I knew that I wanted to do something different with my life. I was starting to dabble in it, but you know what? As miserable as I was, as anxiety-ridden as I was in my current situation, it was still kind of safe. You know, like I said, I'm not a big risk taker. And I have to tell you, when I got that rug ripped out from underneath of me, I got fierce. I don't want you guys to have to get the rug ripped out from underneath of you to get fierce. Get fierce now. And work your business like your life depends on it, like your, you know, the food on your table depends upon it. That's the way I worked my business. And, you know, like I said, complacency, I believe, is one of the biggest downfalls for coaches.
Absolutely.
And then like I said, if you don't have a powerful why, then why bother? And that's where I think most people are at. They're in complacency. They're like, okay, if I don't do these invites today, then it doesn't matter. You know, they're just, yeah, if I don't hit Success Club this month, it's okay, you know, whatever. I mean, you've got it every single day, every single week, every single month has to matter. You have to bother with these activities.
Mm-hmm.
And so I will end with, once upon a time, there was a Beachbody coach who is now 4-time elite. And I ended last year at number 68. And, you know, 10-star diamond team. I'm telling you, this is a life that I could not have imagined. I could not have imagined. I am not the kind of person that I thought would ever be successful at this, but those are the difference makers. Those are the 5 things that I did that I believe other people did not do. And those other people are not here today. So I want you to be here 5 years from now, and I hope this was helpful for you.
That was amazing. I really, I took tons of notes, guys. I don't know about you guys, but I have tons of notes. And just like you said, even though like we all have jobs, and I always tell my team, be uncomfortable. As comfortable as we may be, we all have a nice living or whatever. You got to go through your day like you don't have this, like you don't have this house, you don't have your job, and act like that rug is going to get pulled out from underneath you. Because I tell my people now, build your business while you can pay for your shake, while you can be around people, while you're healthy and moving around and people see you and you're interacting with them. That's when you want to build and get that plan B to surpass plan A. And then if and when or whenever that rug does get, or maybe like you say, you wanted to leave on your terms, now that's even better because you built it, you know? So I think that's some powerful words here. Seriously. Any questions for Deborah? Anybody?
Deborah, I just want to say thank you. That was absolutely amazing. Everything you said there to a T. And when you said about doing what you're told, hands down, I've said this before, is I feel like a little duckling behind Mark sometimes. Like, what is he going to do next? I'm here to do it, you know? And for any new coach, I mean, I feel like I'm fairly new. I'm right at a year almost. But that, for me, was one of the biggest takeaways, was doing what I was told. Mm-hmm. And a lot of it was so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But it helps. You get out of that comfort zone. That's good.
I have to tell a story. You know, my daughter became a coach last year when she turned 18, and we were, she was going through my new coach training, and she was doing, adding new contacts. And I was telling her, okay, once you add them, this is what you say. And I said, I know it's kind of uncomfortable at first, but you get used to it. She said, Mom, everything you're having me do is uncomfortable. Like, I know it's all uncomfortable, but you know, then you get to a point, like for me, it's like, I'll add new people every day. Somebody said the other day, so how do you add somebody, like friend request somebody that, you know, you don't really know? And I said, 2 words, hit friend. That's it. You just hit friend, 2 words, just do it.
Right.
So anyway.
I was speaking to your daughter last year at Summit. It was so cute. I was sitting in one of the breakout sessions, and she was actually sitting right next to me, and she was into it, man. She was taking notes, and it was so refreshing to see somebody that young be so into this business. And I tell the parents now that their kids are graduating high school and they don't have a job or they're looking for something, if they get it at that age, which it looks like your daughter does, I'm telling you what, and I know Brian and Tiffany Hoagie, their son just is graduating and wants to sign up to be a coach as well. If they get it at that age, oh my God, where they could be at 25 years old.
Chelsea Pearson.
Absolutely. Millionaire just turned 26, right? So anyway, guys, anything else for Deborah before we go?
Yeah, Deborah, this is Jan.
Mm-hmm.
I just signed up literally 4 days ago and got my website up today. So I am new. When you talk about numbers and keeping track of those, is there some way to get an example of those, or what kind of numbers I should look at setting up? How do you figure that out?
Well, I think typically we talk about like 3. I mean, I don't know what Mark teaches, but like for a new coach, like if you're using the business activity tracker, aim for 3, challenge invites a day, adding 3 new people to your network a day. That's something that, usually it's kind of like the power of 3. That's something that a lot of us coaches talk about. So aim for that to get started. But I really think those are pretty low numbers, actually, if you want to build a successful business. And once you get the hang of it, once you get the hang of how to do a challenge invite, and that means a personal message, not a Facebook post. Once you get the hang of it and you realize you don't have to write an original screenplay every time you send an invite, then you can just pop them out. But to start off with, set yourself for a manageable number. Again, Mark, I don't know, what do you guys recommend typically? Is it 3 where you go?
5 to 10.
5 to 10, okay. So there you go. And that's kind of more what I did. I mean, I was doing 5 to 10. I mean, today we're like, 3 to 5.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Here's the thing, Jen, I don't know, we'll get with your upline, and you could practice with your upline coach as well. Role play with them. We did a lot of role playing at the beginning. I don't know, Deborah, when you were, 2009, we were doing a lot of role playing. The business has changed a little bit, but still we do what works for our niche, our customer, or whatever, but a lot of role playing. And don't be afraid to do that. If you were ever afraid before, this is not a time to be afraid. You are in the people business. So with that, you have to know that you are going to be talking to people day in and day out, and just get good at it. Just engage in it, like Deborah said, and just get good at it. Screw it up a million times and you'll get good at it. That's all you got to do.
I do all my talking on Facebook. Mark is more of a face-to-face person. I don't do face-to-face.
Right? Matter of fact, I said hi to her and she wouldn't say hi to me. She texted me. So.
Oh.
But here's the thing. Here's another thing. If you're shooting for a Success Club, everybody on this call should be shooting for Success Club 15, number 15, every month. If you're shooting for 5, you're going to end up with 2. If you're teaching your downline to do that, your organization, they're going to do the same. But if you shoot for 15, you're going to end up with 9 or 10. And 9 or 10 is not a bad place to be. If your coaches are doing that and you teach that, they only do what you tell them. They only know what you tell them. If you teach them that right out of the gate, man, you're on your way to a 4-time elite like Deborah as well. So,
I have some videos on my YouTube channel that talk about how I do the inviting process. Talks about, I think that's it, where, adding new contacts, sending out invites and things like that. And I give some of my little sample scripts. And like I said, I have like a basic 2 to 3 sentences that I send. I tweak it depending upon the season, the situation. But I mean, that's how I was able to, in my heyday, when I was on the hustle side of trying to, get lots and lots and lots of retail sales, versus building my team like I am now. I would send out like 20 invites a day, and I do that in a matter of, 30 minutes, 20 to 30 invites a day. It's like boom, 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 boom.
Right. Perfect. Well, guys, thank you, Deborah. Thank you so much for taking time. I know it's getting late over there, and I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but I really, really appreciate you doing our team call. Guys, we know what to do. We take notes. We took a lot of notes. Just go for it, guys. You know what to do. We'll chat later on, text, email, you can call me, whatever. But I want to thank you so much. And Deborah, we will see you at Summit. And I'm looking forward to doing your call. I believe it's the 14th.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
All right.
Thank you guys very much. Deborah, thank you so much again. And say hi to your husband and family for me.
Will do.
Good to meet you guys.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.